This episode of the Party Loaded podcast is proudly sponsored by Audible.com. Check out their awesome catalogue of audiobooks with over 180,000 titles to choose from. And be sure to grab a free audiobook on us and support the show by visiting audibletrial.com/endgame.
Let's party.
Welcome back to Party Loaded. This is episode 2 for the 24th of November. My name's Luke Retallick, and I'm joined tonight by the party as usual. And starting off with Jam. How you doing?
Hello.
We have Ollie as well.
Hello.
And Imogen backing up the group.
Hello, friends.
Hello. Cool. So we've all managed to drag ourselves away from the wasteland and actually record another show. I must say, I'm kind of impressed.
Good work,
Definitely.
everybody.
Yeah.
Good supporting.
I want
so-
to go back.
You want to go back, yeah. Mr. Tony Stark of the Wasteland, you've been busy, my friend, haven't you?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Gotta have a hobby.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Just one.
Power armor collector.
How many suits do you have now? Did I see 5?
Only 5.
Only 5.
Only.
That is ridiculous. So do you have aspirations of having like a vast quantity more than 5? Is that even possible? What's the plan
I
there?
imagine I'll end up with 6 or 7 by the end of the game.
Okay, interesting. All right, well, this is Party Loaded, of course, the podcast about video gaming and for the fanatics who enjoy such things. We got tons of stuff to talk about tonight, and we've all been pretty busy in the last week, and despite our jokes about loads and loads of Fallout gaming, I think we've actually been doing a little bit more than that as well. So let's just do a quick wraparound of what everyone has been up to. So we'll start with the person who I think probably had a bit too heavy a dose of real life this week. Jamie, what have you been doing?
Yeah, sadly. Fallout, I got some Fallout in, but not nearly as much as I hoped. And a smidgen of Minecraft and GTA, but...
Yeah.
Oh, real life. Oh,
Yeah. Blah.
I'm over it.
Needs it. Yeah.
Ollie, how about yourself?
Mostly Fallout. I'm 32 hours into that game now and still chugging along.
Jesus.
And I've played a fair bit of the new Star Wars Battlefront because I wanted to pew some lasers.
Nice. Which we will talk about in detail later, which I'm looking forward to. Star Wars.
Zero.
Yeah.
Zero.
That's it. I'll fire up the sound effects for that later. Imogen?
Well, like Jamie, a huge dose of life this week. So we jumped on together and played a smidge of Minecraft, as you put it, some GTA, which was fun, with some buses and some ambulances going down some hills. So that was some fun times. But I also picked up this week The Room 3 on iPad, which was pretty cool. And I'm not really big into puzzle games, but it is really well done. I am enjoying it. Only one chapter in so far, but it's pretty good.
Interesting. There's a board gaming podcast that I listen to quite regularly called The Dice Tower, which one of the hosts, Eric Summerer, actually was talking about The Room 3 on their most recent episode. And he, I mean, given that, albeit he's not a massive video gamer or, tablet gamer or anything like that, he did sort of happen to say that it is the best electronic game he has played in his entire life. So that was a pretty big call. I'm very curious. Yeah.
Has he played any other games ever, though?
I don't know. Look, I'd say that his realm of expertise is maybe not as wide as what ours is in terms of that particular area of gaming, but he knows good games generally, so I'm still intrigued. I think it'll be worth checking out, and I'll dive in this week and maybe we can chat about it soon, so that would be cool. I know it's the sort of game that I like. Yeah, that's true. Is it a sort of game we can actually talk about without spoiling the hell out of it, though? Like,
Not really. You can talk about it in general, but there will be like the specific things that frustrated me or that I really enjoyed that I can't talk about because it'll give away the method of the puzzles. But it's really good. It's really good. You'll enjoy it, I think.
Cool. All right, I'm looking forward to it. I actually managed to tear myself away from Fallout fairly spectacularly this week, actually, and play a whole bunch of other things. Yeah, well, look, listening back to our recording from last week kind of helped or hindered me. I don't know which way to really call it at the moment, because there were so many things that I wanted to play after we all were talking about stuff last week. But one of the first things I did is I actually hopped on to Heroes of the Storm and checked out the new double-headed ogre character, Cho'Gall, which we were talking about last week. So, and our good friend Dave sort of hit me up during the week on message and just said, let me know when you're playing some heroes. And I said, yeah, sure. And then I hopped on solo and played a whole bunch. He just he wasn't available.
I'll play with you. No.
Let me know when you're playing. Okay, I'll play by myself.
Yeah. Not now.
I can't play with you. I'm busy testing stuff out. But oh my god, that ogre is a ton of fun. I highly recommend anyone who is picking up Heroes for the first time to give that character a bash, because it is ridiculously good. So it's exactly like what we talked about last week, where you basically have one person who does all of the melee and movement controls and sort of moves the character around and has some sort of radius effects that allow you to do damage in the immediate vicinity and sort of charge through enemies and that kind of thing. And then the other player who controls the other head basically does all the magic stuff. So you've got the ranged attack, you've got but hang on, this is one of the coolest things about the character, and this is one thing I think that really makes it appealing a whole bunch, is that you actually have like this spiked bomb you can throw. It's almost like a landmine sort of thing that you just roll, like a giant spiked yo-yo effectively. But the way that it works is that the player who controls the melee side of the head throws the bomb, and then the other one detonates it. So, and the way this actually works in game terms is you actually hear the sound effect of the ogre sort of throw the bomb. It says, "Bombs away!" And then as soon as you hear that, you need to be paying attention and trying to detonate it in the right spot. But you can actually get these upgrades later on as well, where it becomes like literally like a yo-yo, where it sort of goes out and then it comes back in, it boomerangs back to you. So you can like plot its trajectory and then detonate it at the last possible moment, sort of when it reaches a whole bunch of stuff near you. But it's just awesome mechanic. The spellcaster side of like Gall of the creature as well. There's a power up later on where you can actually shunt the ogre's movement. Like you can force it a short distance in one direction, which is normally something you can't do on that side because the movement's controlled by the other player. But being able to shunt it a tiny bit just allows you to reposition for like that vital shot with some of its magic effects. So it's good to be able to kind of just get a little dig in there. But
setting up those arguments between heads.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly what it is.
You shunted me. Oh my god.
Why you hurt me more? Yeah, no, it was so cool.
So who did you do this? Like, did you just choose and then they assigned you a random person to join the other head, or how did that work?
Well, the way it works is that when you log into Heroes, you can actually test out either side of the character. They've kind of got like a little test version of it active, so you can just play like against the AI and have a go at the powers on either side. And the way they've done it is actually really clever. You can actually set your own level as well. So the way that it works in Heroes is as you level up during a game, you actually get access to more of your abilities. So you can jump into the demo, set your level, and then instantly have access to pretty much all the abilities you would normally have, and get a real taste for it straight away rather than having to sink 20 minutes or so into the character. But if you want to get the character to sort of add to your tableau of available sort of tunes, you need to basically play with someone who already has it on their profile, I believe. They've done some sort of real weird viral distribution for it where you have to... Yeah, you sort of team up with someone who's got the character, you win 2 games and then you get it as well. So that's how they're spreading it out. It's really interesting. It's the first time I've ever seen Blizzard do anything like that, actually. But it builds up the hype a fair bit, and there's a lot of people on sort of, looking for opportunities to jump in with someone who's actually got it and play with them. So it's a good opportunity for them to sort of push, people playing with new people and spreading the community out a bit, which is cool. So, yeah, bit highly sought after at the moment because you can't just go out and buy it. Like, you actually have to earn it by playing with people who've got it, which is cool. So, yeah.
Yeah,
and
that's the side of it.
To socialise.
Yeah, exactly.
You will communicate.
Yep, you will have one head talking to the other. Yeah, so that was cool. That was really cool. And I played a little bit of Fallout. Got my ass handed to me by a bunch of super mutants that frustrated the hell out of me. That was kind of cool. And just a bunch of tablet games this week, actually. A bit more Hearthstone. That's been awesome. Oh, Hearthstone, I got to talk about this because it's really, really fun. There is a minecart escape level in the new sort of week of the League of Explorers expansion. So it's like a long-loved video game trope, you know, having an escape from a mine level with a racing minecart, and now it comes to a digital card game. So there you go. You've actually got a level where you basically have a 10-turn limit you're trying to escape, and you have to survive for 10 turns. And throughout each turn, you're basically given like a randomized deck. You don't actually use one of your decks for this one. So there's a whole horde of trogs that keep on deploying on the board, trying to knock you out. And you just get a whole bunch of random power-ups each turn. So like training dummies you can throw in the way of them. You've got explosive barrels you can chuck at them. There's a mechanical parrot you can send in to attack, and just a whole bunch of stuff. It's such a fun level. So loving the hell out of that expansion at the moment. It is great.
Is it very difficult?
Look, the thing I tend to find about the Hearthstone adventures is that they are a lot easier than playing like ranked games or arena games because you're still playing against the programmed AI. And they're a lot easier to sort of do the basic level missions. They are, like, most of them are deck dependent, so you need to have a decent deck and you want to have a reasonable collection of cards to sort of make it easier to finish the games. With the exception of that minecart mission, that's probably one of the first ones I've seen where you actually don't use your own deck. You're given a deck for that particular encounter. So that's a really beginner-friendly one, that one. But once you actually finished all of the basic challenges, you can actually go back and do them on heroic mode, where they make the bosses bigger and more dangerous, and they make their hero powers like twice as powerful, give them extra health points, that sort of thing. Yeah,
Interesting.
those are really hard. Those are really, really hard. So
They really are changing these card games. I mean, Hearthstone really is more than just, you know, strategy and building a deck and those ranked games. It's really cool to see.
yeah.
Maybe I'll have to start playing again.
Yeah, it's great. Like, I would highly recommend for anyone who's jumping into Hearthstone for the first time or even coming back after a bit of a break, jump into one of the adventures. I think it's probably one of the best ways to go. Because you don't have to have like an uber competitive, you know, meta deck to be able to cope with it. You just need to have something that's, you know, reasonable. Most of the basic decks would be fine. And, you know, you play some of those missions and you actually get a stack of cards when you complete them as well. So you fill out your collection quite neatly. And League of Explorers, especially compared to the other two adventure expansions. So they had Curse of Naxxramas and Blackrock Mountain. Those two, I think, when you complete all of the games, you get about 25 new cards, whereas in League of Explorers, you get 45. So there's actually quite a few more in this one.
Didn't they have a gnome one as well?
That was the Goblins versus Gnomes. That was an actual expansion for the game. So it wasn't an adventure per se. It was just literally card expansion, so you can get those packs. They've had two of those such expansions so far. They've had Goblins versus Gnomes, and they've had the Grand Tournament as well. So their cycle seems to be adventure expansion, sort of card pack expansion, adventure expansion, card pack expansion. And when they do the card pack ones, there's usually a good 100 or so 150 new cards they add to the set. So yeah, but and
You are such a fanboy.
oh, look, I love it. It's great.
Just a little bit.
It is very, very cool game. And it's
You
just
can
sort of
hear you get
casual.
all animated. You can tell you're smiling.
Oh, I'll stop talking about it. No, it's good. Check it out. Check it out. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to need like a safe word for when Luke starts talking about Hearthstone, guys.
Yeah. Sorry. Luke's getting a bit stoned.
Oh, no.
Anyway.
Well, there has been some other things going on besides Hearthstone. The Game Awards were announced, the nominees for the Game Awards were announced on the 12th of November. We didn't mention it last week because we got a little caught up in everything else we were talking about. Yeah. And that's probably a good segue as well for the Game Awards.
So I guess we should probably just establish what the Game Awards are for anyone who's not aware, because there's probably a bunch of people out there that aren't. So way back in 2003, the American Spike TV actually started up an annual award show, which basically recognises the best computer and video games of the year. And that ran for quite a while. Like, it went right through till 2013. And then it kind of came back with a new format last year, where they actually rebranded it as the Game Awards instead of the Spike TV or the Spike Video Game Awards, which were also, they used to be known as the VGAs. So now they are basically being produced just as the Game Awards, and they are done by Jeff Neely. So I don't know if anyone knows who Jeff Neely is. I think he's been best known for this. But there's a bunch of other really sort of notable people in the games industry that have been involved. So there's a lot of people from Rockstar and you've got Peter Moore from Electronic Arts and Reggie from Nintendo of America, Phil Spencer, the Xbox guy, Valve, lots of people involved. And I think Robert Koo from Penny Arcade is on the board of advisors this year, or the judging panel, I think, as well. Hideo Kojima has been on there for a number of years also. Back when it was still on TV, I'm pretty sure that Samuel L. Jackson actually hosted a few of the annual shows as well. So that was a pretty big deal. But the big change in format now is that it's done pretty much exclusively on the internet as far as the broadcasting goes. So they still have an annual event where they actually host the award show like at a venue. But as far as where it's distributed, now it's online. So there you go.
You can still attend in person, and they do put on a pretty good show. I saw them announce recently that Churches and Deadmau5 would be playing, which is kind of cool. It's nice to see this becoming a sort of more mainstream event, and usually I would hear this about the Game Awards through other channels, but I actually heard about it through mainstream media, so go figure.
It's pretty cool. So this year's one's going to be live in Los Angeles on the 3rd of December, so... And, there's a whole bunch of nominees across different categories. Most of them are jury voted. So there's actually a jury of 30 international media personalities. And, in a lot of cases for upcoming games especially, and I would assume that Fallout would probably fall into this category this year, a lot of the jury are provided like advanced copies or advanced codes for upcoming games to sort of meet the judging deadlines. But they have to have been commercially released by Tuesday, the 24th of November to be eligible. So, and obviously in the case of Fallout, because that falls within that date, then it's eligible this year for that. And there's a bunch of fan choice awards as well. So it's not just jury voted. There are about 6 categories that are voted on by fans as well. So
I think Battlefront just made it in as well, but I think I only saw it in fan voted. Oh, no, Best Shooter. It was under Best Shooter as well. Yeah. So lucky for them.
So nominees, who we got? There's some interesting ones.
Best game is an interesting one. So we've got Bloodborne, which was sort of earlier in the year as far as all of these games. Fallout 4, of course. Metal Gear Solid, Phantom Pain, Super Mario Maker, and following it out with Witcher 3.
Which is an interesting one because that actually won the most anticipated game of last year's awards, I believe.
So it would make sense if it backed it up with the Best Game Award, wouldn't you think?
I hope it does.
Is there a history of that happening?
I wonder.
I don't think so. I wouldn't say so. It would be interesting to find out. Someone should email us and let us know.
Had Fallout even been announced back then? I can't remember because it seemed like Fallout was announced quite late.
It was announced this year's E3, wasn't it?
That's what I thought. They did keep their cards quite close to their chest with that one.
Yeah, I liked that.
Yeah, they tend to as a studio, so... Not surprising, but it's in a category with some other sort of really well established games. It is a really good game, but is it going to pique the jury's interest? I don't know. We'll have to find out. I've only played Fallout 4 so far of the best games. Have you guys played any of the other ones? I've seen a lot of Super Mario Maker online, but I've not played it.
Yeah. I've played Metal Gear and The Witcher. And Fallout. I've seen a bit of Bloodborne, but that's about it. I've heard good things about Bloodborne, but if I had to call it, my vote goes to The Witcher. I reckon he's going to get it.
I think it'll be between Fallout and The Witcher, actually. It'd be one of those two.
Fallout lacks polish.
Yeah.
What about Metal Gear Solid isn't selling it to you, though?
Well, Metal Gear is a great game, don't get me wrong. It's technically very, very good, but it does have some weak spots, and I think it might be undermined a little bit with some of the dramas that they've had in recent weeks with the changes to the online version. So there's been a lot of politics going on with, between Konami and Kojima Productions, and they've obviously wrapped up Kojima Productions, and Hideo Kojima's gone on to other things. And I think it's a real shame, actually, from a marketing standpoint, because it has actually taken a bit of the attention away from promoting what is a fantastic game with some of this, political crap that's been going on in the development side of things. Well,
interestingly enough, Kojima Productions is also up for Best Developer.
Yeah, well, I mean, they did develop it even though they've been wrapped up now. So, yeah. And I mean, at the end of the day, it is his legacy. It's something that he will be remembered for, and his name's plastered all over the freaking thing as well. So,
not officially, out yet, kind of, maybe. Not confirmed on holidays.
I don't know. It's
Yeah.
bizarre. It's bizarre. The thing about the game, though, is that it is an awesome game, but it's like so entrenched in its own navel that it just doesn't. I don't know.
Terminology there.
Yeah, like it's so self-absorbed. It's just bizarre. Like the story, and this is no different to most of the Metal Gear stories. The story is wacky as, like it tries to do this modern warfare style political overarching tale that involves like Afghanistan and the Russian invasion of Afghanistan and all this sci-fi weirdness going on in the background. But at the end of the day, it's like timeline-wise, it's a prequel to a lot of the other Metal Gear games, so it kind of suffers from the whole having to set up story elements from the other games, as well as introducing enough new, weird, interesting stuff that you don't know about Metal Gear to kind of make it unique. But it gets weird. It gets real weird. I can't
So it's a Metal Gear game.
Well, yeah, pretty much.
The end.
Yeah.
Well, moving on from best game, because I think that will be hotly contended, and I think no matter who wins, it's going to be controversial. It's always one of those categories. My other favorite one that I wanted to mention in terms of categories is best indie, and this is just because I think that year on year I tend to gravitate more towards the games in this category, and it was the same when we talked about PAX. It's interesting to me for the kind of indie idea or independent game, best independent game rather than indie. This year the nominees are Axiom Verge, Her Story, which looks super bizarre but very interesting. Ori and the Blind Forest, of course, held dear to my heart. Rocket League and Undertale, which I'm hearing some lots of good things about as well. I'm super happy to see Ori and the Blind Forest in that category and in others. It's also up for Best Action and Adventure and Art Direction. So I think well deserved for a game that I thought was brilliant, and I thought that maybe had been lost amongst the troves of other games. But I think it's getting sort of recognition in these categories, and I'm really happy, and I'm rooting for it, and I will be devastated if it doesn't win one of those.
It is a very pretty game. I'd be surprised if it didn't win at least one of those.
Yeah.
Art. I mean, if it wins art, that's a real credit to the obvious effort that has been put into making that game just stunning.
Well, looking at the other art categories, I would be surprised if it didn't come out on top.
Yeah, so we've also got in the art Batman, Arkham Knight, Bloodborne again, Metal Gear Solid again, Ori the Blind Forest, and then The Witcher again. So, in terms of art direction, it's the only independent amongst those, with some fairly heavy-hitting from Software Studios, Kojima Productions, and then CD Projekt Red and Warner Brothers on The Witcher. So that would be a real bow, I think, on an otherwise beautiful game.
It's also the only non-grim dark looking one, because you got Batman.
They are all
Dark
grey.
Souls, I swear, Bloodborne, Metal Gear, which is grim and gritty, and then The Witcher, which is grim and gritty.
Yep.
You
So
are
it's the
so
only
salty
non-grim and
today.
gritty. Well, it's a fact.
It's true. It is true.
It's true. It is true.
No, the
True.
of the indies though, like, do we really think that any one of the indie games on that list has had more of an impact on the scene than Rocket League? That one just seems like the standout to me.
It's taken off. It's been so popular.
The new DLC pack for that was quite fun, actually. It introduced some crazy mods and whatnot. That was quite fun.
Yeah.
And
But
for it to be
just
such
take
a... it's the breadth of its reach is insane for an independent game, and the jury's got to consider that. It's, Ollie, you were playing it for quite a while. You got pretty pro.
No. I suck. Didn't get above rank 2.
Oh, really? That does surprise me. But
That's
yeah, so
consistent.
the indie category will be hard for Ori and the Blind Forest, I think, because there just is so many other good games in there. I looked up more today on Her Story because I hadn't heard a lot about it previously, and that looks fascinating and terrifying. So that'll be interesting. And Undertale seems to be getting quite a lot of press, so we'll wait and see for that one. But it's going to be interesting to watch the Game Awards to see how it all comes out, as well as to see who takes home all of the prizes. And hopefully it's just not, well, we'd all be happy if it was Fallout 4, but that would be a little bit biased.
It'll be The Witcher.
Well,
If anything
I think I'm
takes
with
like
you
a
on that one.
massive sweep of things, it will be The Witcher.
Yeah, that's true. Because The Witcher is in so many of the categories.
Oh,
I have to
yes.
admit, though, Metal Gear Solid is in almost all the categories that I picked. Its developers up for best dev. It's up against action and adventure. It's in the best art direction. It's in the best game. So it did appear, I think, more often than not than a lot of those categories. Sorry.
Yeah. Action and adventure, I actually am going to give my pick to Arkham Knight for that this year. I think that's going to take it out.
I don't know. See, I don't know how they consider it in terms of, the PC release for it versus the console release for it, and that's something, as a game, do you consider that it didn't come out equally on all platforms, or?
Yeah, that is true. But to my mind, if that was taken strongly into the consideration, then it probably wouldn't have even made this list.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
That is also true. Yeah.
that,
So maybe they have to look at. They've just sort of gone. It is only in action and adventure. Oh, it is on art style as well. So.
I mean, it is an incredible game. All of that controversy aside, it is really, really good. And I'm just looking through the best performance nominations too, and noticing that Mark Hamill, of course, is up as the Joker for Arkham Knight, which it's
fantastic.
a little bit of a minor spoiler there for anyone who has played through the Arkham series, because the Joker actually dies at the end of Arkham City. So
Yeah, see, I hadn't got to that yet.
yep.
That's a surprise for me.
Spoilers. Aw.
God, you suck, Luke.
There really is a moratorium though on spoilers, Jamie.
There is.
I know, but I hadn't noticed it yet. Luke made sure I did.
All I will say is
All the
that
screenshots of the Joker didn't give it away.
I've been avoiding.
I'm
been
gonna
careful.
I'm gonna just spoil like the first opening scene of Arkham Knight, because this is really not a secret. As soon as you load the game up, like the very first thing you do in Arkham Knight is you actually burn the Joker's body as Batman. I'm not kidding you. So there you go. You can play the game and work out how the heck that actually works. But
Yep.
yeah,
I will need to now.
yeah, Mark Hamill's performance as ever, because he is the best Joker in history. You can keep your Heath Ledger, you can keep your Jack Nicholson.
Or controversial.
Yeah.
There's
little
no
controversial.
contest. There is no contest. I'm sorry.
Please write in and tell Luke why he is wrong.
Yep. Send your emails to luke@partyloaded.com and I'll back that up. Absolutely.
Well, we should probably move on because there's a lot to talk about.
Yep.
Other than the Game Awards, another sort of notable thing that has sort of crossed our radars was the Minecraft Realms updates, as Redstone coming to Microsoft.
Well, technically correct.
You're not wrong.
Pocket Edition and Windows 10 Edition, and then also the story mode episode is due this week.
Yep.
We hopped in and played some of the new Minecraft Realms updates, which was fun as a team. I think it's the first time in a while, other than Fallout, that we've all been online.
Yeah. We banked a whole bunch of time in Minecraft earlier this year, so it was good to get back in. And man, I got those nostalgic feels like immediately as soon as we logged in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Jamie and I spent a full 20 minutes just going, oh, let's go back here. Oh, remember when we built this?
Absolutely. All of our original creative areas and everything. Oh,
We went back and had a dance party at the
half of
Visa.
it. Oh, yay, Fiesta Square.
For anyone who doesn't know what Minecraft Realms is, it's basically the Mojang operated sort of server accounts that you can get. So you, instead of going to like a third party server hosting solution, like Mojang actually do run their own, which is called Minecraft Realms, and it's supported within the main console of Minecraft itself. So you can log in, and it's pretty good support, really. Like if you don't want to go through all the rigmarole of jumping on servers with different kinds of settings and having to upload your own content and all that sort of weirdness, it's a very user friendly solution. Yeah, exactly. Port forwarding. God, screw that. So we jumped into Realms instead of taking a more complicated other option, because it just seemed like the easy thing at the time, and it ended up being pretty fit for purpose for us. I think it's been
I
good.
miss my mods.
Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah.
You do.
They're working on it, aren't they?
They are, yeah. I mean, you can upload custom maps and all sorts of things with this anyway. So unless you want to do like real hardcore mod stuff, you're not really that limited, I think. So
It would be cool to play the dinosaur one where we can.
What do you
dig
mean
for
you're not
fossils.
limited? You don't have any mods on there. That's as limiting as it gets.
You just want that mining laser. So you can zap stuff.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like
Not
there
that
wasn't
limited,
tons of
but You
stuff.
can't have anything.
Yeah.
No.
So Minecraft Realms actually do offer you a bunch of sort of packaged mini games which you can play, and they've added a couple of new ones which we actually got to try out on the weekend, which was kind of fun. So one of the ones we had a crack at was Brothers Feud, Castle Rise Brothers Feud, yeah. Which, like, we didn't actually finish it because we had a couple of technical dramas, but that was a weird map. So you
A
actually
lot of work in it.
Yeah,
Incredible.
Amazing amount of work must have gone into that. They've just changed the nature of the game. They've made it into a tower defense type system, and it's really cool.
Yeah. So you basically, in Castle Rise, what you have to do is each team builds a castle. And you're basically building a castle around a prince that you have to protect, and you have to essentially attack the enemy's prince. But there's a build phase where you basically have an amount of cash that you start with, and you can spend it to buy and place structures. So you can place, moats, armories, fletchers, walls, siege factories, all sorts of different things. And then after that 10-minute build phase, the attack phase starts and the game plays proper. And it gets real crazy real fast. Oh man,
it's a shame Australian internet wasn't up to the task.
No,
yeah, because it wasn't.
I ninja'd right past you guys thanks to lag, but couldn't do anything. I was in your throne room, swinging my sword, nothing.
Yeah.
Well, I was just standing next to our prince, defending him on having absolutely no impact on Ollie, who was just transporting across my screen.
Your
Which,
prince,
is how it normally, even if it wasn't internet, I probably wouldn't have been able to hit him. But,
no.
I was there. I could see him. I was hitting him with my sword and he just wouldn't die.
I was going to say, your prince did a fine job of defending himself. That little bastard had a flaming bow, so he shot the hell out of me.
We didn't get close enough to your prince to find out if he had the same.
No, I mean, I was standing there, but I couldn't see him.
Yeah.
No. So
I actually wasn't standing there.
Lag. It's worth checking out. It's a lot of fun. So you can do a 1v1 with it. I think it'd be better with more players as long as the connection holds up.
More the merrier.
So, that's it. But there was a couple of other fun ones. That was probably the one most worth mentioning. So, yeah.
No, the dropper was a good one.
Yeah, the sunburn, whatever it was.
Sunburn Reforged.
Yeah. So
that was so much fun. I really enjoyed that.
So you're basically
I was good at it.
running across the ground, and it's turning like a darker red color behind you, and the floor starts collapsing, and you basically collapse through different layers, and you have to be the last one to sort of drop through to your death, essentially. So it's
Minecraft floor is lava.
Yes, exactly, literally. Yeah.
For me, out of all that, the dropper actual adventure map, them actually becoming like an official thing released by Mojang is really cool to see. And that's basically one of the ones where it's like a really big custom map that guys made and you're falling through it, trying to hit really annoying small targets. So that's a very fun little adventure map that I've played before, but it's nice to see it now officially supported by Mojang, essentially.
Nice. We'll have to load that one up at a later date and have a crack at it.
And that's one you should be able to do multiplayer, because you used to be able to do it multiplayer.
I think so. But that's, lots of fun Minecraft stuff. And Imogen mentioned as well that they announced the third episode of Minecraft Story Mode is coming out this week, which I'm looking forward to because I'm up to date with that. Sure, we were going to dive in and chat about a few of the Telltale games this episode, given that that's a thing. And I've just recently finished the Game of Thrones one as well, because the final episode for that came out this week. Now, Jamie, you and I think, are the only two out of us so far that have played story mode, and you've got a little bit of catching up to do with episode 2. Is that right?
I do. I've only just started episode 2. I am a fan of a lot of the Telltale games. I've played a couple before.
Yeah.
But mostly with this one, I think I'm really enjoying it. It's cute. It's adorable. For those who don't know, it's a point-and-click adventure in Telltale's sort of episodic format. They're known these days for their more mature content, but because Minecraft being Minecraft, it's a lot more PC. So while I found it quite adorable and it's very cute running around with my little pig Reuben, the lack of mature themes, expected, slightly disappointing, but I can see why they've done it. It really reaches their demographic, which is everyone.
Yeah.
As I say, little Timmy over here doesn't want to deal with life and death.
Yeah,
and morality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But it's cute. Your choices in conversations and your actions, they affect how the story unfolds. They'll change the way other characters react to you later on and whether they're cooperative or uncooperative. Yeah, it's awesome. You play Jessie, who can be male or female, so mine's female. You end up going with your friends to Endercon, which is really cute, a little building convention that they have. and,
cute.
disaster strikes, there's a bad guy, things have to get done, and the world needs to be saved. So I really enjoyed it. And what did you think, Luke?
It's really funny that you say the difference with the target audience being more, young audience focused with story mode. Because I found that the biggest difference with Minecraft story mode compared to the other Telltale games is exactly that. But it has a more profound impact, I think, in that you feel a lot less attached to the characters in story mode.
Do you think that's a positive?
It's a tough one because, having just gone through, I've played through both seasons of The Walking Dead. I've played through the Wolf Among Us, which is probably one of the best ones they've done.
I love that.
Yeah, it was unreal. I haven't played through Tales from the Borderlands yet, but that's next on the list because it's been getting some excellent press lately. Mm-hmm. And I have just finished Game of Thrones as well, and Game of Thrones being, Game of Thrones and, bloody and horrific and all that sort of stuff. You drop from that into Minecraft and everything is definitely sugar-coated like lollipops and rainbows. So
yes.
Yeah.
Well, what
it just feels a lot more superficial.
Yeah.
In episode 3 in the background, you just hear the rains of Castlevania playing. Shit's going to go down.
Yeah, that's it. But I guess the collateral damage for that difference of approach is that in the other games, the decisions that you make are real to the point that characters don't survive. Even major characters in some of the other games don't survive the entire season. And it catches you out sometimes with the ones that are actually, written out of the story. You're like, how could they do that? How could that character die? But it's a real risk for most of the games. Except for, usually the point of view character is okay, from, being at risk, unless you're playing Game of Thrones, of course, because it's all about killing point of view characters. That's what Game of Thrones does. But yeah, Minecraft, the main character, of course, is Jesse, as Jamie mentioned, and I instantly went with the male version, Jamie, because as soon as I found out that the male version was getting voiced by Patton Oswalt, I just couldn't go past that. So
I think I'm going to have to replay just purely based on that fact.
Yeah, exactly. So anyone who doesn't know who Patton Oswalt is, he's a American stand-up comedian that's done a bunch of TV stuff. He's probably most recently known for having a recurring role in Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., plays Agent Koenig, who's the guy who hands out passes for one of the S.H.I.E.L.D. secret bases. You'll recognise him instantly if you've seen to the end of season 1. But yeah, no, he's quite good. And the story, I actually like the story. I think it really does help if you're a Minecraft fan. You understand some of the things that are going on. They kind of start off by telling the tale of 4 adventurers who have gone and already killed the Ender Dragon. And we know from playing Minecraft that's one of the most lofty aspirations you can kind of build towards, which is getting to the end and actually killing the giant dragon there. So when you start Minecraft story mode, that's already happened. There's a band of 4 adventurers that have done that, and they've become famous as a result of it. And the tale kind of revolves around them being the celebrities that you eventually end up meeting up with and then having to kind of work with to save the world again. So it's very, very cool. The new threat is, I don't know, what would you say, Jamie? They've taken a little bit of artistic license with it, would you say?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much I don't know yet because you're so far ahead of me now.
Well, yeah, in terms of what the threat is, I think you've seen all you need to see. So
yes.
Yeah.
Well, without saying too much, I think from the little I've seen so far, it looks like it's still going to have some emotional decisions to make and some interesting themes that it approaches. And I'm hoping I'm right, but, based purely on my episode 1 experience, it doesn't look like it will necessarily go for straight good versus evil. I may be wrong because I've yet to play through, 4. Are there 4 other episodes? It's going to be 5 total.
I think it's 5 total for this one, yeah.
Yeah. But it still plays on your choices and your loyalties.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the thread itself. I don't want to say anything.
It's tough not to spoil. It's really tough not to spoil. But,
actions have consequences?
Well, no, the actual sort of threat that you're dealing with, it's kind of tough not to spoil it because, you could probably work it out what you think it is because what is the other major threat in Minecraft besides the Ender Dragon? And you kind of, if you played the game, you know what it is. But all I'll say is that they sort of break the 4th wall and make it a lot more dangerous than it is in game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's kind of weird. But the one thing I really liked in episode 2 in particular is that they start to have a fair bit of adult humour creep in. So, and
Excellent.
I got to tell you a little story about this because this was just hilarious. So, there's a scene in episode 2, which you may or may not see depending on some of the choices that you make, because episode 2, I think, is the one that is least on rails as far as the story goes. Like, there's a decision you make early on, which I think changes the way episode 2 plays out drastically. But one of the things that can happen, you end up in a place where there's actually a guy who's making a machine involving pigs and lava, and they have a whole bunch of humor around, cruelty to animals and all that sort of stuff. So it's just hilarious.
So funny.
Yeah, you would find that funny.
What,
KFC destroyer of chickens.
What?
You don't remember Luke's viral marketing campaign when he created an automatic chicken death machine and then filled our entire realm with chickens?
I'm still finding those goddamn chickens.
Oh, so annoying.
Oh.
Now.
So I am not surprised that you enjoyed the storyline that involved killing pigs with lava.
I didn't say it involved killing them.
Competition.
I just said it involved humor about killing them. That's all I said. Anyway.
Was there bacon puns?
No, I don't think there was, actually. I'm racking my brain now. No, but what there was, and the way I found out about this was hilarious. So my 6-year-old son, Ben, actually, I gave him my iPad to play episode 2 on before I got to play it. So he went through and he played through, and he made a whole bunch of story choices, and I deliberately sort of went in afterwards and decided to make different choices to what he did, so we got to see a couple of different angles of the game. Now, he played it without me being present, and he knew about a few things that were going to happen that I didn't. And he starts talking about these things around the house that I didn't quite understand. And one of the things that he said, which really concerned like me and his mother, was that he's hunting for the F-bomb. And I was just like, you're what?
Uh-oh.
You're hunting for the F-bomb?
Oh, dear.
It sounded all kinds of bad, but as it turns out, it's just a bit of the tongue-in-cheek humor that they've got in that episode, because there is, in fact, an F-bomb. It's not what you think it is. It's actually like a fusion bomb of some sort, but they refer to it as the F-bomb, and it's just hilarious.
The E-bomb.
Yeah. Oh, it was great.
Oh, no.
But, oh, man, a nervous moment there, I could tell you. I was like, wife's going to me, what are you
Words
doing?
with Telltale Games after that.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, on an old man angry letter.
Yeah, that's right. But like the one thing that I do like about the game a lot so far compared to a couple of the other recent titles is the release schedule has been much friendlier to the consumer, because since they launched Minecraft Story Mode, there's been like no more than a month between episodes, and in most cases it's been less than that, I think, compared to say like Tales from the Borderlands, which had like a massive gap between 2 of the episodes, and Game of Thrones most recently too. Like the finale for Game of Thrones, like episode 6, has only just come out in November. The last episode prior to that was released in July. That's a massive gap. And when you're going through a story like that, that's so like it entrenches you in the narrative and you're fully immersed in what's going on, and then all of a sudden you have to wait 4 or 5 months for the next episode. That's crap. That's a crap experience.
Yeah,
So-
it's really dangerous for them as well. I mean, Telltale took a real chance releasing the last episode of it's a franchise that, like you say, people are playing along with the game, and they're really counting on, people are going to play it anyway, because they're releasing at a time with some very big titles that are consuming a lot of people's game time.
Yeah.
So, we all have finite time for games, even people whose job it is to play games. So, Telltale, I don't know if that was the plan, but Game of Thrones, the reason I stopped playing the whole series was the gaps between each episode just got too long. And so by the time the next one came up, I was like, oh, yeah, that's that thing I played, a month, 2 months ago.
I mean, on one hand, they released the whole series as a purchasable game on consoles after it's all out. Like when the final episode it gets ready for release, the discs are hitting stores and that sort of thing. But it's a double-edged sword. Like all of the people who've played it up to that point, if you've played 5 episodes out of a 6-episode series, you're going to get the 6th episode, in most cases. But are you going to buy it all together as a package if it comes out at the same time as another AAA title that you're going to get distracted by? So, yeah.
I think there'll be a lot of people out there who, and you're starting to hear this, it's, I'm going to call it Netflix culture, where we're used to, if something's released, the whole thing gets released. So there's people who are saying, I will not play story mode until it's all released. Exactly. Or I will not play, now Game of Thrones is all released. Now people will start playing it. So they can play it all the way through and get a full story experience, because even the recaps don't seem to mean anything when you've got a gap of multiple months. So
it's true.
I don't know. It's a really interesting way of playing games, but does it need to be done better? Probably.
Yeah, no, I think so. They're good bite-sized experiences, though, for people to play. You can certainly commit to playing one of them without, giving your life to it, essentially. Each episode for just about all of the Telltale games that I've played generally goes between 90 to 120 minutes, sometimes a little bit longer if you hit a particularly crunchy episode. But you'll finish an entire season at, around the 10-hour mark-ish. So... compared to, say, a Fallout 4, where you're going to basically be giving, several months of your life to it, a little bit more appetizing. But
I found that my playstyle changed significantly between episode 1 of the Game of Thrones Telltale series and episode 2. The first episode, I think I was super worried about everybody and, oh my God, it's Game of Thrones, everybody's going to die, and the whole thing. Second episode...
Everyone died.
Yep. I got angry. I was angry. I was like, oh, you're so... Oh, whatever. I'll make this one Ollie. I'll make this one super salty. The whole experience. Also, I was playing on iPad, and maybe that's not for me for that type of game. That's a really long game to play on an iPad, and I found like some of the controls were just not as responsive as I needed them to be, and keep having to like see the Vala Morghulis on that screen. I nearly threw my iPad across the room.
You did throw it across the room, didn't you?
Oh, no, I Hadoukened it across the room, but that was a different story.
Oh, nice. Yeah, no, look, my take on the Game of Thrones story now that they've reached the end, and they have announced season 2. They are definitely doing season 2, so that to a certain extent explains a lot of the stuff that happens at the finale, because there's definitely some threads that are left open, shall we say. Yeah, like some of the resolutions to the character story arcs really perplexed me. They did not finish up where I expected them to. And it seemed like a lot of effort with very little payoff in a couple of places, which I thought was intriguing. The second last episode was probably the big one in terms of something massive happening that you're not expecting, but the sixth one was just a complete bloodbath, like for a good part of it. So a lot of fighting, a lot of combat scenes where you're doing like quick swipes and, ducking and diving and swordplay and this, that, and the other. But yeah, it was fun. Like one thing I did like about the Game of Thrones story compared to, say, the books or the TV series is that they've effectively created a story that sits alongside regular Game of Thrones canon. So the whole game is focused around a house called House Forrester. That's basically, well, that's not mentioned in any of the books, but it still fits quite neatly into the world of Westeros and sort of makes sense in terms of where it fits into all the action going on. And the story sort of kicks off at the event of the Red Wedding. So anyone who's actually seen the show or read the books knows what that is. It's probably one of the most horrific and defining events of the entire story.
Best plot ever.
Yeah, huge twist. So by setting the story commencing there, it really sort of raises the stakes from the first minute and makes everything very, very important. And then it sort of carries on from there. But the House Forrester family essentially is split across the map with different characters doing different things based on the needs of the house to sort of survive the oncoming war. So one of the characters, Garrett Tuttle, he's actually sort of sent off to the Wall, and you get to sort of see the whole Night's Watch angle of the story there and see a lot more about what's happening sort of north of the Wall with the Whites and that sort of thing. You've also got Asher Forrester, who has sort of been a family member exiled over to the other side of the ocean, so he's a lot closer to where Daenerys Targaryen is, around Marine and that sort of area. You've got Mira Forrester, who is actually sort of one of the handmaidens at King's Landing, so she gets involved in all of the politics going on there, and gives a really good opportunity for some of the actors of the main Game of Thrones TV show to actually do voice parts for their characters as well. So you get Tyrion entering in, Natalie Dormer's of course there doing her thing with Marguerite Tyrell. Cersei Lannister is in there as well. But probably one of the best voice parts is the return of Ramsay Snow. Just he's as psychotic in the game as he is in the TV show, and it's awesome to see him
scarier in this. I have to say, Ramsay's my least favorite / character in the books. I'm a big book Game of Thrones person, and I feel like in the TV series, he's still psychotic and you still see all of the normal tropes, but I feel like Telltale have got closer to how I feel about him when I read the books than the TV series has. And maybe they have more freedom to do so. They can make him a little bit more unhinged, but he's definitely on point from what I've seen so far in the Telltale series, over and above the TV show. He's the Ramsey that I love to hate.
I would agree. He is a new level of crazy.
Yeah, and that's what, they've done it really well, and as a series, I think it's suited really well to it, and I will eventually pick it up because I'm a bit of a tragic Game of Thrones fan, but the best part about it, and maybe you guys, I know, Luke, you get this with your son playing story mode in Minecraft, is with Game of Thrones. I have friends who are big Game of Thrones fans, and they came over once and we sat down and we bought it on the PlayStation, and I just sat there and watched her play through it. She's like, "Did you make that choice?" "No, I didn't make that choice." Yeah. "What's wrong with you?"
Well, the cool thing is you can actually get the stats on the choices as well if you're logged in online, and you can see what everybody else around the world actually chose for those different things and where the weightings were. So
yes, it turns out I'm a sociopath, but there you go.
So perfect for Game of Thrones.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I got to the point where I got all very D&D about it. I was like, well, my character wouldn't do that.
Well, as they say in the Game of Thrones, you win or you die, and at the end of season 1, I definitely did not win. There was some serious collateral damage. Well, I don't know if it was due to the choices I made or not. I suspect that quite a bit of it was, but there was some bad endings there. That's for sure. Yeah, but no, overall, I would highly recommend it if you're looking at picking up any of the Telltale games. Game of Thrones is excellent. Minecraft Story Mode shaping up to be quite good. Very different audience. Highly recommend Wolf Among Us, which I'm sure Jamie could vouch for as well.
Absolutely.
And The Walking Dead is phenomenal. I preferred season 1 over season 2 of The Walking Dead, but both very close. Yep, both very, very good. And they've got the rights to do some Marvel stuff coming up soon, I believe. So Marvel superhero stuff.
Be interesting.
Yes.
It's a little bit more in the sort of PC side of things in terms of politically correct, not the computer.
Yeah, exactly.
Than maybe the other Telltale ones are, yeah.
Well, I wonder if it's an interesting avenue for them to explore some of the characters that don't have a big showing in the TV series that are out now, or the cinematic universe. So there's a lot of supporting cast there that could get their time in the light, so to speak, and get some stories told around them.
There's a lot of Marvel characters they can use.
Mm-hmm.
So many. And DC's making some big hits, so they've got to come back with something.
That's true. That is true. So, all right. Well, Telltale Games aside, let's jump into the other big topic of the week, because, of course, Star Wars Battlefront just got released. And our man on the ground, Ollie, has been playing a whole bunch of it.
Yep. I've been chopped up by Luke and Darth Vader at this point. It's great.
All right, well, tell us about your experience from day dot, and give us a rundown on how the game actually works, plays. What's the setup?
All right, so essentially, if anyone's familiar with the Battlefield series of games, you are a soldier on the ground. There is various vehicles dotted around the map. So in the case of Star Wars, there's things like the AT-ST, AT-AT, there's TIE fighters, there's X-Wings, there's the cool turrets on the Hoth planet, that sort of thing, speeder bikes. And you play a grunt on the ground, and you are trying to achieve different objectives. It's either first or third person you can play it. I've been playing it third person just because it's a bit prettier. You go around, and usually you're trying to achieve certain objectives. Sometimes that's literally just kill the other team. Other times it's destroy certain objectives or capture certain points. There's one game mode which is kill the enemy heroes, which is an interesting one. But overall, it plays, for those of you familiar with Battlefield, it plays like Battlefield 4, but with a Star Wars skin over the top and in-level power-ups that you can use.
So you say it's like Battlefield as opposed to Battlefront?
Yeah. So if you've played Battlefield 4, you will find a lot of things very familiar with this game.
So what is it like with the team play? Is it a better single-player experience, or is it designed to be played with friends?
Don't do the single-player experience. It is not designed even remotely to be a single-player game. It is, if you can play a single-player, by all means, half an hour later, you will then load up the multiplayer. Put it that way.
So it's not, like a GTA where it has, the decent solid solo and the online experience. No. You do feel it's more.
Yeah, it is like half an hour to 45 minutes is a single-player campaign.
Wow.
And then you go into the multiplayer. It's more of a tutorial than anything else, really.
Huh.
Interesting. That sort of correlates with a bit of the press that has been going around about the amount of depth to the game. So it has been getting very good reviews in most places, but the recurring complaint seems to be about the brevity of the content, and that might be relating to it all being sort of forced down the gullet of the online experience as opposed to having more of the single player stuff. Would it match with what you have picked up?
Yeah, like they've just gone, here is our token single player campaign. Let's be honest, this is an online game. Like, they haven't really marketed as anything else. Like, there hasn't been any, like, play this amazing story, or you can be this guy and do cool things. No, it's, you are playing our big multiplayer games where there's all this stuff going on.
Yeah.
And that's been always what's in the trailers and that sort of thing. So I personally am not bitter about that, because if you're buying Battlefront for the single player experience, you're kind of doing it wrong. Go play Dark Forces again at that point, basically.
Cool.
That's a really old Star Wars game for those that don't know.
Context.
Yeah.
So what's your favourite mode to play at the moment? Is there one that you think is a standout success compared to the others, or is it up in the air?
My two favourite modes at the moment are the base assault. So the one for that in particular is the Battle of Hoth. I'm a big fan of that. That's been quite a lot of fun. I don't mind being either Rebels or Imperials for that. I feel like either side is valid, but the Rebels would definitely have the uphill battle in that one. The other mode I really like is the squadron ones, so where you are all in ships. So the mode I played is there's a couple of Star Destroyers and a Rebel ship, and you're trying to get transports off the ground, and there is just a clusterfuck of starfighters up in the air trying to shoot them down and kill each other. And that is a lot of fun. It's no X-Wing versus TIE Fighter good, but it's the right place for all the starfighters, where in the other maps they feel a little shoehorned in. So I found that in that map they really shone, and the tracking system is very much like the movies, where once your targeting computer locks on, your lasers actually do move along the gimbal to follow their target. It's actually quite cool.
Okay. I've heard really good things about the Walker Assault mission as well.
That's the Hoth one.
Oh, that's the Hoth one. Okay, cool. So is that kind of like heavily themed around taking down the AT-ATs? Do you need to sort of get some low-flying ships in there, like some of the A-Wings to do the whole harpooning thing? Or is
Y-Wings take out its shields.
Okay.
But yeah, essentially the Rebels' objective is to hold points and take out the AT-ATs, where the Imperials is capture points and eventually destroy the shield generator. So it's very much like the movies. As far as the overall look and feel of the game, the game looks brilliant. Like, I cannot fault how the game looks until some of the animations come in. Like, the stills of the game look amazing. Some of the animations, not so great, but overall it looks amazing. The sound is ridiculous. You are in a Star Wars movie at that point.
Yeah.
Like, the sounds are phenomenal. The gameplay itself, I have the same issue with it, and I know every FPS player ever that plays Call of Duty and Battlefield would be like, oh, that's just because you're terrible at it. I don't like the idea of, over a long period of time, you get better weapons. So you get various points and money, and you can buy to unlock weapons. So I bought an E11. I'm saving up for a Jawa blaster. But I prefer the Counter-Strike model of in a round, you earn, like in a game, between deaths and whatnot, you earn your money and you level up in that game, and then every game you reset fresh. Because then it stops the person who goes, I've dropped 60 hours into this, and the guy that goes, hello, this is my first game, coming on and getting absolutely annihilated by guys with horrendously powerful weapons that they've spent all these hours unlocking. Like, I'm not a fan of that model. And I know every FPS player ever is now going to be very angry at me, and I don't care. They're wrong.
No, I'll back you up. I think that would be a barrier to enter. I mean, if you've not had time to sort of log on and do those 60 hours, then you're at a distinct disadvantage. To those people, not only are you learning how to play the game at the same time, but you have, you're starting out with base weapons when people have got upgraded stuff. I can see that. I can see why that. I mean, it's fine if you're also 60 hours in and you can, measure up your guns together.
Yeah. My E11 is longer than your E11.
Compare your E-pins.
Exactly right.
Doesn't help that all the guns
exactly where I was going with that, Luke. Well done. But yeah, if you know, it's sort of shutting down. I guess it's the dirty word, casual gamer. It's not accessible. Yeah, filthy casuals, which is not. That's me impersonating Ollie. I don't believe that personally, but
She's putting words in your mouth now.
yeah.
There's pros and cons for the system, but personally, for drop-in gaming like that, I prefer that if you're going to have a long-term thing, it's for cool stuff like skins and hats and whatnot, rather than in-game benefits.
So can I ask a question? How do you play as Luke or Darth Vader? How does that mechanic work?
So essentially, in a game, there'll be certain drops on the map, which are power-ups, and this can be anything from, like, you get a cool shield generator to you can place a turret to you can now fly an A-Wing or a TIE fighter you can, like, there'll occasionally be a drop where it's you can now play as Luke Skywalker, or you can play as Han Solo.
Wow.
So they're power-ups that you find around the map that spawn in, and you pick them up, you hold down your button, after a little while, you turn into whatever that power-up is. So then you get a certain amount of health as that character, and once you go down as that character, you then transfer back to your old one.
Does winning rely upon that person staying alive, or is it literally just an upgrade thing that you get for, like you would get an airstrike or something in one of the other games?
It's like getting a nuke, essentially. Like, it's a one-off power-up thing that the game doesn't revolve around. It's just a really nice buff for your team. The amount of times I've heard, "Oh shit, it's Darth Vader!" over the TeamSpeak is amazing, and it's glorious when that happens up until he force chokes you into a wall. Autoeroticism is not my thing, but
fun Saturday night for you.
Yeah, I have the weirdest boner right now.
Okay, so is it difficult to pick up? Like, if there are a lot of features or functions playing that character requires, can it be difficult if you haven't had much experience as the character, or?
Oh, as in for the upgrades for like Luke and Darth and Han Solo? No, they use all the same mapped buttons essentially. So what would be your secondary function as a grunt, or what would be like your grenade or your special thing as a grunt, is the equivalent on that. So my left
just with a different theme.
Yeah, essentially, like my normal attack as Darth Vader is I swing my lightsaber, whereas my alternate might be I throw my lightsaber, and my special might be I force choke a guy.
Oh, okay.
And like I can have special cooldown moves that aren't too like dissimilar. Like, it's not overly complex. You don't have to remap your keyboard for each character, sort of thing.
Right. Interesting. So let me ask you a question about the progression in the game. You mentioned that the individual scenarios and the individual missions are very sort of power-up based, and a lot of it's fluid in the way that you kind of level up during the mission with what you pick up. What about overall? Like, when you're playing online, is there some sort of progression structure where playing more games actually gets you more stuff, or is that completely out the window and focus on...
in-game, like actually in your individual rounds, there is no real progression. So if I've got, say, 20 kills and only 2 deaths, I'm just as powerful as the guy who's got 16 deaths and 1 kill.
Okay, so I get that, but is there any sort of leaderboard structure which actually gives you that incentive to keep on playing? Like, are there ladders or anything like that, or is it just literally you playing for funsies every time?
Oh, no, there is the usual KD ladders, points scored for various things, that sort of stuff. But it isn't like you've got to kill. Like, you don't get a 5 kills. Oh, actually, no, you do get kill streaks. I will correct myself on that. As far as I've seen, you don't get any mechanical benefit for them.
Right.
So it's not like 25 kills and you get a nuke, or you get to call in a UAV after 5 kills. And I know that's probably wrong. Don't kill me.
Yeah.
Black Ops play. So there's no mechanical advantage to it, as far as I can tell. I'm probably wrong. I just haven't been paying attention.
Not even aesthetics, like pentakill, get a skin sort of thing. Nothing like that. No,
it's nothing like that. Where it's like, you unlock a hat because you killed 30 people with a Bowie knife. Like, it's nothing like that.
That would be some hat.
Well, that's what Team Fortress does, so that's fine.
Yeah. Nice. All right. Well, overall, would you recommend it to most folk? Would you not recommend it to certain sort of flavours of gamers? What's your sort of closing thoughts on it?
I would not recommend it to anyone who wants a single-player campaign. Don't play it if you're just looking for a single-player game. You will be horrifically disappointed. If you want to play online with your mates and be like, this is Star Wars, awesome, then by all means, yes. Just don't expect it to be like serious business like the movie Star Wars. Like, the game does have its awkward comedy moments at times where it's like, hooray, I'm finally Darth Vader. Awesome. And A-Wing crashes into you and kills you. You're like, less ideal. Or like, Darth Vader versus Luke, time for some awesome lightsabering, and it's just a flail fest. It's like, it makes Star Wars A New Hope lightsaber fighting look good.
Damn.
It's a little awkward, but throwing your lightsaber through like 3 dudes or piling around an ATST, pew-pewing your way through Ewok villages is incredible fun. And the game, like I said, it looks and sounds amazing. Like, for me, it'll be a matter of there's not a lot of maps at the moment, even though there's a decent amount of game modes. There's nothing massively new about the game modes. Some are a bit like the Hero one I didn't enjoy very much. The Squadron one I liked a lot. There's your usual like team deathmatch style ones or essentially King of the Hill style game modes. So it'll really be a matter of how much DLC they release for it. And with a $50 season pass, I really hope there's a lot coming. Because at the moment, it doesn't feel like a fully fleshed out game, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Like, there's a few good maps and like all the bits are there, but it feels lacking in the amount of maps and content in that regard.
Well, there's only 4 theatres of war, isn't there? Like 4 planets.
Yeah. So there's the Swamp one, there's Endor, there's Hoth, there's a lava planet, and there's the desert planet. So 5, sorry.
Okay. And the desert planet is the Jakar, which is from the new film, isn't it?
I'm going to say maybe. Okay. There's Jawas there. There's a Jawa sandcrawler. So if they get around, then sure. I'm sure some Star Wars nerd will correct me on that, but that's fine. No, I have enjoyed it. I am not regretting my decision to buying it. If the new DLC battle that's coming out is anything like the trailer with Star Destroyers crashing down in the background, then I'm going to be a happy man for at least half an hour. Because at the moment, it doesn't have a lot of... It suffers from what I call Titanfall syndrome, where it's like, I play it for an hour, this is great. A little bit later, I play it for 40 minutes, this is still pretty good. Come back later. I played it for an hour, it's getting a bit samey now.
Yeah.
3 weeks down the track. Yeah, I feel like a new game at this point.
I had the exact same problem with Titanfall. Yeah, I had the exact same problem with Titanfall. And I think that I deliberately avoided Evolve for the same reason as well. So I thought that would be the same case.
Yeah, Evolve was the same. It was a lot of fun to start with. Everyone was playing it, so it was easy to get, a group of friends together who could communicate, but that petered off far too quickly.
Yeah, which I hope doesn't happen because this game has a lot of potential, and that's the worst thing you can say about someone. You have a lot of potential. Means you're not quite there yet, Sonny Jim, and that's what this game feels like. Like, it feels a little bit unfinished. And for me personally, I will play it. I have bought the season pass because I want it to be a good thing. I'm being optimistic for once in my life. So
that's a big deal.
So I'm now cautiously optimistic. Cautiously.
Interesting.
But no, I've had fun with it. I've played it now for about 2.5, 3 hours, and I've enjoyed that. I just hope it can maintain that momentum.
Cool. Right. I'm just going to... There we go. So this is the flailing you're talking about?
No, see how there's connecting noises? Doesn't happen.
Okay.
More just flail, 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 and then a force choke enema happens.
Oh.
Or an AT-AT steps on someone.
Yeah.
That's also funny.
That happened in one of the trailers,
that they're
didn't
electrocuted as well, so if you run into one, you die.
it?
Oh, yes. That's happened to me. I'm like, I'll take cover behind the flat.
Yep. That's hilarious. They didn't think that a huge armoured walker would be dangerous enough without electrifying it as well. That's hilarious.
Actually, that's the one thing I will mention. Spaceships, so being able to get into an A-wing and that sort of stuff, doesn't work fantastically on the maps that aren't dedicated air fights.
Right.
So the dedicated air fight, the fighters work great. When it's a mixed ground battle, they do suffer from jet syndrome in Battlefield games, where it's like, there's a vehicle, yep, I can ping it off. Infantry, I'm just going to spray and pray.
So do you actually get to break atmo and sort of fight in deep space in those sorts of maps, or is it?
No, you're stuck straight doing strafing runs.
Okay, well, that's less fun then. Well, there you go. That's Star Wars Battlefront. So it's probably a good note for us to finish off on. And what's everybody got planned for their gaming for the next week?
Well, Jamie and I are actually going to go to the Perth Games Festival, which is on this week. So if you're in Perth, Western Australia, I recommend you head along. It's on Saturday, the 28th. It's 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Perth Town Hall, and it is free, and it features some amazing sort of local and sort of indie games, most of which are adorable, so I'm sure Jamie and I will have a great time.
Yeah.
Really looking forward to it. Lots of different types of games, so there's board games and video games and all sorts, but we will report back on our excursion. So
I went last year.
Someone there.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Just so many novel ideas. Very much looking forward to it, so can't wait.
Also looking forward to getting back into Fallout and actually sort of getting past the 10-hour mark. That'll be great, because at the moment, watching Ollie getting all of those power suits, I've got some serious FOMO. So looking forward to that, and finishing off the Room 3. And maybe now I also have to look at getting the Game of Thrones Telltale series and finishing that off. So to-do list is long.
Yeah, mine keeps growing too. Mine's very similar. I want to catch up on Minecraft Story Mode, play some more Fallout, and anything else that people have mentioned that sound interesting. I've just lost track.
Yeah.
Battlefront.
I have a lot to catch up.
There you go.
Yeah. So you're going to be spending a lot more time fronting this week, Ollie?
I'm going to space it out just for the reasons as said. I'm just going to chunk it out a bit. I'm not going to drown myself in it and get bored with it. I want to savor it a little bit. I don't want to wreck it for myself, essentially.
Yeah.
So I'll still be fallouting. So that'll be my main thing. And then I'm going to go to possibly a arcade machine auction and see what I can get from there.
Nice. Is there any particular arcade machine that is kind of on your must-get list if it happens to come up?
Oh, not off the top of my head, but if I could grab a Street Fighter machine, that'd be freaking awesome.
Oh, yeah.
That would be amazing.
That would be epic. If I ever went to an arcade auction and I saw the original side-scrolling Ninja Turtles game, I would snap that up in a heartbeat. That was an awesome game.
Was that a turtle pun?
No. I was quite serious.
Okay.
I don't know how much I'd have to shell out for it, but, you know.
We need a soundboard.
Yeah, a pun counter.
Wah, 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 wah.
Yep.
There you go. Soundbite that.
We could do that, but that's basically like putting a set of goals in front of me at the end of the field that I'm going to want to kick balls through as often as humanly possible. So, yeah. Anywho, this week I think is going to be a week of looking for new and interesting things. So I'm definitely going to pick up the Room 3, and we can talk about that next week. The Minecraft Story Mode Episode 3 I'll pick up. I think I'm going to have to grab Tales from the Borderlands as well, just because of how much good press that's been getting lately, and jump on and check that out, and more Fallout, of course. I'm not expecting to catch up to Ollie's stupid amount of hours, but yeah, it should be good.
Oh, it's not that stupid, Jesus.
I'm
sure somewhere someone's listening going, pansy. I did that in like the first 4 days.
Call
which
yourself
is entirely
a nerd.
fair. Yeah, exactly. Look, that's fine.
Yeah. There was this thing posted a couple of days ago with, I can't remember the exact context of the picture, but it was like, someone sitting down to play Fallout and saying, I'm actually going to do this in the game today. And they end up just being like a cat diving around the room, chasing after a laser pointer with what they actually end up achieving. So
that's basically my 10 hours to date.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, well, for me and for everybody else, that is it for this episode. If you'd like to drop us a line, and please do, you can get us at mail@partyloaded.com. Check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/partyloaded. We are on Twitter @partyloadedshow. And of course, you can check out the main blog at www.partyloaded.com. So, that's it. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
The Party Loaded podcast is a Channel Endgame production. For this and more great gaming content, bookmark channelendgame.com.